Hi, welcome back to Lizzie's lovely allotment. It's mid-December. It's a really mild day, so I thought I'd take the opportunity to come out and do a little bit of work in the polytunnel and dig my Christmas potatoes that I planted August, September time for a Christmas harvest. They were Charlottes. I'm going to see if it's been worthwhile. So let's go and take a look. So the first potatoes I tried are in these potato bags. And this lot in here, don't look too bad. They're quite healthy. But I pulled 2 bags last week, and honestly, I had probably half a dozen teeny little potatoes in it. It was really not worthwhile. I'm going to leave those a little bit longer though, because they're looking quite healthy. But I've got some in the polytunnel I'm going to take a look at now. So I've emptied out the polytunnel a few weeks ago, and I've just been doing some work in here today with the compost. You can see I've put some compost on the beds. I've got a compost bin, so I thought I'd take the opportunity to get some compost on there. And I'm just not really going to dig it in yet. I'm just going to leave it on top. The chickens come in here and have a good root around, and the worms will take it down. But my potatoes are in an old crate that I got from the builders when we had a patio built. So this is a patio crate that I lined with this black membrane. And the only reason I've got the wire over the top is that the chickens would be in there digging out my potatoes. So if I take the wire off, you can see I've still got a few shoots, but mainly they've died off now. So I'm hoping that when I have a dig down, that I've got something in there that's worthwhile. Okay, I'm just going to have a dig around and see if there's anything in here on the surface that's worth all the effort. I mean, well, there's my first one. Yeah, that one's not really worth it. Oh, there's another one. This was the size of the ones that I got out of the green sacks in the greenhouse. Oh, it's just hilarious, really. They're not really going to fill you up, are they? I've got the label actually. So Charlotte, I put them in on the excuse me, I put them in on the 3rd of August 25. So what's in my compost? Nothing. It's not something that I can just tip out either. I've got to literally dig around and see if there's anything in the soil. Oh, not finding much so far. Oh, hang on. There we go. Oh, there's one there. Oh, there's another. Oh, there's another. Oh, they're so tiny. I really need to get right down. I might need to go and get a fork. I can't dig enough. Okay, well, there's 2 there to start with. I'm just going to pop and get a fork. I went and got a bowl for my 2 prized potatoes, and I've got the fork so I can have a dig. I'm just going to try and do it a little bit carefully because I hate it when I've got potatoes in the ground outside and I accidentally put the fork or the spade through the potatoes. It's so disappointing. That might be the one I found earlier. Let's pop it in the bowl anyway. Oh, there's a potato. This is lovely soil. I mean, it's not through the lack of nutrients in the soil. There's another one there. Look. Oh, no, that one's not too bad for size. I mean, they went in, what did they go? What did I say? They went in on the 3rd of August, and today is the 16th of December. I've just grabbed a spade so that I can have a really good root through, because this crate is quite deep. I mean, that's my haul so far. Look at that one. Now that's impressive. Unfortunately, I cut through a potato, which is so annoying. But I'm going to carry on having a good dig down seeing if I can find any more. This crate is quite deep, and oh, there's one there. There you go. So fairly small, but usable. Dig out some decent sized ones. Look, and it's all come from this back area here. I had hardly anything at the front, but there you go. See, that's a decent size. So I've gone through the whole crate, and that's my haul. So is it worth it? They've been in this crate since August. I've obviously had to keep it watered because it's in the polytunnel. They grew really well. They've been had no foliage on them for probably about a month now, and I've just left them in the soil. There's no damage really on them. A little bit of potato scab, but that will just come off when you clean them. Will I do it again? Probably, knowing me. I'll get to next summer and forget the fact that I only got a bowl full of Charlotte potatoes. But it's the 16th of December, and you don't normally harvest potatoes in the winter. So I do feel quite pleased. I think definitely the crate has worked better than the potato bags. I won't bother with those again. But what am I going to do now? Well, this is really lovely soil without any stones in it. It's not manured or anything. So I'm going to have an experiment of some early carrots. Never gets below 0 in the polytunnel. Probably sitting at the moment about 20, so it's nice and warm. So why not? I love having an experiment, and if I get some early carrots in March, then I'll be pleased. So yeah, all in all, I think it wasn't a bad experiment really. I've come back after preparing this bed to these two in my carrot bed, what's going to be my carrot bed. They are weapons of mass destruction. I've thrown the chickens out for a little while I plant my carrots. So the crate that I had the potatoes in, it's got some really lovely soil in here without any stones. Polytunnel today is at 15 degrees because I just checked the temperature, so that's nice and warm. So I'm going to try some early Nantes carrots because I haven't got anything to lose, so I might as well give it a go. And these are actually able to go outside from February, so they're quite hardy. So I'm going to give those a go in the polytunnel, even though it's only the middle of December. I'm going to get the seed in, and then I've got some old polythene that I got some from the builders that I'm just going to lay on top of the soil to keep the soil warm. And as soon as they start to germinate, then I'll take the polythene off and just experiment. I love an experiment with gardening, so if I get some early carrots, then happy days, I'll be pleased. So soil's all ready. I've just given it a little light fork over when I put it back in from the potatoes, and I'm just going to. I've just got a dibber, and I'm just going to create some lines. Carrots don't want to go very deep, so I'll just create a small trench, a little bit of potato stalk there. I'm going to do a couple of lines. Probably they're too close, but I'm not a fussy gardener. Might try a third actually. So if they germinate, then I'll be pleased. There we go. In fact, why don't I do a fourth? 2. Stone there. And then I've got my seed. Carrot seed doesn't like being old, so I do always buy new carrot seed. However, this is last year's carrot seed. Well, actually, sorry, this year's carrot seed, but it's earlier. And I still got quite a lot left, but it has been sealed and it has been kept in an area where it was not going to degenerate. So I'm going to give it a go. So the seed is really small, but I'm just going to get it in my hand and sprinkle it into my trench. When they start to germinate, you can thin out if you want to. I always find that I I find it really difficult to thin out, just because it's like thinning out my children. I think, well, I've grown these. I don't want to pull you out and throw you away. It's really sad and very silly. So just put a little bit of seed on the top of the soil here. Doesn't want to go deep. Just a little sprinkling along each of the trenches. Quite difficult to get it evenly spaced, so you'll find you've got a little clump that come up, and then you'll have a gap of an inch or two, and then another little clump. Hey ho. Oh, I can hear the chickens there groaning and moaning because they're not allowed in here at the moment. Once I've done this, I'll cover this in wire so they can't jump in and destroy my handiwork. Right, I think that's about okay. Might just put a little bit more in for luck, you know. Why not? A few more seeds in there. There we go. Right, okay, I'm happy with that. I am going to put my glove back on. Just gently put the soil back over. Literally just fluff it back over your seeds. Right, I am going to go and get the watering can and give that a water before I put the polythene on it. Right, I'm just going to give it a quick water. The soil was quite damp actually anyway, but I'll give it some water because it will be in the warm, hopefully in the warm polytunnel, doing its thing. That'll do. And I've got my piece of polythene. It's not beautiful. It's just an old piece of builder's polythene. It's quite big actually. Might just chop that end off, or I could just fold it over. Just fold it over. There we go. Right, so that's hopefully going to keep the soil a bit warmer. And then my final thing to do to keep the chickens from destroying my handiwork, which they will do, given half a chance, is I'm just going to put this piece of wire over the top. Which I can just tuck. There we go. That will just stop them digging. They love a dust bath, and I love the fact that they love a dust bath, but they've got the rest of the garden to go and have a dust bath in, not in my carrot bed. Which would be their dust bath of preference, I'm sure. Right, there we go. So, carrots planted 16th of December. I'll do another little video in a few weeks' time to see whether they come up. So, I'm just going to do a label because I'll forget. And there we go. Carrots in mid-December.